Hello, welcome to lesson 3. So in lesson 3 I was going to talk about colour theory, but you're probably a bit bored of theory by now, so I've got something a bit more interesting for us. So what I'm going to do is I've got this imaginary friend, and this imaginary friend has got a coffee shop he's just opened. Really nice coffee, but he's not that great at design, so we're going to help him out. He's given me a concept that he drew up whilst he was serving customers. Here it is. Isn't that lovely? It's obviously been in his pocket a little bit of time because as you can see it's very creased and he's spilt stuff all over it. So we're just going to help him out here because what's wrong with this image? One, it's using Comic Sans. That is a no-no. Do not use this font. All right. It's also using some word art. So it's obviously got a very old version of Microsoft Word and it's done some nice word art with a logo. And he's also grabbed an image here of a chameleon. What's wrong with that? There are two things wrong with using images for your logo. The first one is it doesn't scale very well. So if I want to blow this up really big for a poster, I can't. It'll be all pixelated because it's what's called a raster graphic, which means it's made up of little squares. Can you see each of these squares has a distinct color? This one's black, these are all different colors of green. And if you zoom in a bit long enough, you'll just see squares. That's all. So it doesn't scale very well. And the other thing is, I don't know where this image came from. Now that's not necessarily a problem. I could probably hunt it out, but it's a problem because it could be copyrighted. And therefore it's illegal to use it. Even though it comes up in Google searches, it wouldn't be appropriate for us to appropriate this image for our graphic. So let's not do that. Otherwise we'll get in trouble. All right, be gone. What I've done instead is I've done a little search for logos of chameleons and images of chameleons. And I've come up with this nice one. I don't know how valuable this is going to be. We'll see in a minute. But this is a nice image, nice and clear. It's very large. It's CC. CC means Creative Commons. Now that's a license which allows you to use it. So you can share it and you can adapt it and you can change it. Okay, so we can do what we want with this image when we download it. So that might be handy. I also did a nice little search for logos for a bit of inspiration. Now the inspiration step is important and it can take quite a long time. I just basically looked for other people who had done logos of chameleons and just had a look, see what I'd liked, see what's been done before. Because of course, I want to be inspired. I want to find something that I like, but I don't want to have something that's done before because it's too easy to replicate it. The good thing is now that, people are quite willing to share their designs and you can find a lot of really fancy stuff. Really like this. I love this. I love that with the shades here and the nice lines and everything. Really nice. There's some other cool ones here if you keep going down. Like a lot of people do something funny with the tail because it's very round. Let's skip over that. Let's not worry about that. Can we get rid of this guy? No. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, it's going to redraw it all. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of funny things, fun logos that are inspired by or made from chameleons. So I just had a troll through these and I saw, oh yeah, I like that one. Oh, I don't like that one. And I settled on that guy that you saw before, the one with the different colours on him. And I thought, well, that's quite nice. So that's also really cool, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, you can, if you're really lazy and you've got a bit of money to spare, you can just go buy a logo and use that. But let's go and create one because it's fun. But also we've got to do the typography and other things like that. All right, let's start off with our logo. So I also found this icon. There was a vector here. No, that's not the right one. That's a screenshot. This one is a vector. No, that's wrong. Just a second. It's this one. Right. So this is a nice little vector. See, let's get rid of the bounding box by deleting it. Now here's all the different points on this vector. Now, did I explain what vectors are? Let me just do that. Vectors are scalable graphics. So you know how we saw the pixels on this, so it doesn't scale up well. That's not the case with vector graphics. You can zoom in as much as you want. You're seeing squares there because that's just the artboard. What this is, it's a vector graphic. So it's actually a mathematical what's called a Bezier curve, a mathematical representation of an image. So you see when I just clicked on that there, do you see that line? Let's try and bring it back. So these are, obviously the white dots are points, and then the lines are just a mathematical calculation between the points, and you can alter them if you want. Give them a hump. That line looks like a dinosaur. Let's put that back. And it means that you can scale things infinitely. So this is a really useful thing, because now it allows us to have something that will scale up and down, as so for different uses. Right, cool. And I'm using Figma here. Figma is my tool of choice when it comes to vector graphics. Figma's just been bought by Adobe, so I don't know what the situation is when you're listening to this. What the situation is going to be. I imagine that it'll go behind a paywall, and you'll have to pay like 50 quid a month for it, because Adobe. So there's probably going to be some other version of Figma, some other different tools that you might be able to use instead of that. There's a really cool one called Affinity Designer. I really like the Affinity Suite because they do have, this is a really cool product to use. It costs about 50 quid, but you don't have to buy another one. You can keep using it. Not like Adobe where you have to buy it every year or it stops working. So that's well worth checking that out. But it's not as good as Figma, because it's just got so many other tools. I mean, it's meant for so many different applications, and it's really adaptable. So try and get Figma or a suitable alternative. Right. So we've got something to go on now, haven't we? We've got a little character that we can use in our logo. Right, so what's this logo going to look like? What's the format for it? Well, you could just do what he's done there and put chameleon like that. Let's bump the font up a bit here. Let's go to 48. Right, okay, I'm using a plain old font, but let's just demonstrate. We could do that, but then what's going to happen later? So he's going to want to use it on his website, and you can't use that on a website because, as we said before, people expect logos to be on the top left of a website, don't they? And what's going to happen to the text? It's not going to be readable. I can't scale it here easily, but it won't be easy to read, will it? So what we want to do is have a format that is readable and can be on a website as well as other applications as well. All right, so I might just keep it, I don't know, I'm having a bit of an idea bash with you here. It doesn't really matter. Oh dear, now I've scaled it wrong. Oh no. Right, okay, let's undo that. So what I often do is have the text here. So I have Chameleon Coffee, and then I'll have the byline. What was his byline or subtitle? Coffee that stands out, lest we forget. I haven't decided about whether it should be title case or sentence case, whether these should be capitals or not. But let's just leave it that for now. And then let's just have bold this, right? Let's just show that it's the title case, and let's make it a bit bigger, right? All right, so that is kind of the layout that we want. Already it's looking better than the original, isn't it? Right, this needs some, so now let's use some other design principles just to align it. So alignment, remember what that was? So it means that people can see, oh, where's my rulers? Rulers. Yes. Right, okay. So people can see it's all nicely lines up with other things. So do you see how that's snapped in position there? And so is this one. So when you see that already, it's got quite a strong identity. And actually, we need another one. Did you see that? This is not lined up. Look. See, this is another thing to watch out for. Okay, little tip here. The C has a bit of a gap before it, and because this one is, even though it's a C, it's smaller. So the gap is smaller. So it doesn't look like it lines up. So what we need to do is just bring it over a little bit, and then it will look like it lines up. Okay. So just be aware of that. Right now it looks like it lines up. Okay, before it didn't. Just be aware of those little things when it comes to fonts. Right, that makes all the difference, right? That looks like you don't care. All right, it looks like you haven't put any thought into it. But if you line it up carefully like that, then obviously that's going to make a bigger impact. And there's other things as well when it comes to typefaces. Like, for example, the typeface designer will have like a spacing between each letter, like how much space it takes up. Do you see the O is placed inside this box here? Top, bottom, left and right. There is some gaps. And that's all good and fine, except sometimes they're a bit big. So this one, it's not sitting nicely with that F and the E. There's a bit of a gap, and you'll start to see this more and more as you're designing more. But you can bring those in. So it's called kerning. Where's my kerning tool? One of these. Is it that one? No. Okay, that's it. There we are. Look, just by reducing it 6%, it's a lot tidier. Now that was just a demonstration because we're not going to use this typeface. All right, let's talk about typefaces. Next step. Oh, hang on. Zoom out. Zoom out. Right. Okay, now we've got a nice curly, swirly kind of logo. What kind of typeface might go with that? Yes, curly one. Right. So I've just gone on to fonts.google.com. And there are a lot of fonts on this thing. Okay, you can search to your heart's content. It will take you a long time. Because font research is another one of those important things. Like, if you get it right, it'll really work. And it'll stay with the brand a long time. That's if this company stays open for a long time. But it can be really quite nice. So there's a couple of nice things here. What you can do is you can search by categories here. Now, if I turn all of these off except for handwriting, you'll see all the scripty kind of curly ones. But also you've got serif. What are serifs? Serif typefaces are the ones with the little bits here. Do you see on the L it's got a little bit of a platform. On the N it's got a little bit of a thing called a finial here, I think it says. So they are serif typefaces, but you've also got sans serif. It used to be called humanist. Without that, okay? Two very distinct styles of typefaces. All right, and display ones are just the ones that are meant for really big use on large applications. Lobster is a really popular display font. So just the other thing to be aware of is that a lot of people use Google Fonts and a lot of people use Lobster. So we won't be using Lobster because everybody uses it. It's a bit boring now. So I'm going to go for something a bit more variety like this one. Now this was my first choice, Archivo Black, because it's nice. And it's got those curves as well, hasn't it? It's got a little bit of a nice movement to it, a little bit of flow. But it does have some very straight lines as well. Not sure how that might interact with our logo design. Then I found this one. And I think this is our font. So I'm just going to download this family. And I'm going to add it to my font book. So I've just launched the font. You might have to do a different command on Windows, but this is for Mac, whatever thing you are. So we've got Cherry Swash. Now let's see. Hopefully Figma won't need a restart. Let's put them back over there to change it to Cherry Swash. Let's see. Sometimes applications update, sometimes they don't, and they need to be restarted. Cherry Swash. Look at that. We're already getting somewhere. That looks great in my opinion. Cobzy. Right. Now that's really quite something. I like it already, don't you? Right, does this need any kerning? Let's just zoom in and just see. It's pretty good actually. I might just bring that in a little bit. Oh, whoa. Too much. Okay, that was not my intention. Okay, let's bring that in. Yeah, that's good. Not too much. And this one. Yeah, there we go. I think that's all good. Right, okay. Now, what we're going to do about this byline here, this bottom bit, is that going to be the same font or different font? I think a sans serif would be good, don't you? And I think actually Enter works okay with that. The reason I'm saying this is because it's a nice contrast. Do you see? This is a nice thick serif font. See, serif has got these little platforms these little finials, these little end bits. But this one hasn't. It's a sans serif, and it works quite well as a contrast. So that's Inter. Inter would be quite good as a body copy on a website as well. So if they were like thinking about their website, then they would be able to use Inter font on that. Now, so you see what I'm doing there? I'm not just thinking about the logo, am I? I'm thinking about other applications. What else is this person going to be using for us? Because if you think, you know, you're just designing it for one poster or one logo, just think about the amount of different things that could mean. I mean, this could turn into a multinational brand with your logo. You want him to be able to use it everywhere that he wants to. So yeah, we're just going to leave it like that, I think, for now. Let's just see how things progress. We might change it later if we need to. Now everything's a bit black and white, isn't it? Here, a bit dull. Let's see what we can do about that. Now, I like using. I know I said I don't like Adobe, but this is a great tool. Adobe color.adobe.com. Now this allows you to examine what a color library. So a color library is like the different colors you might use in your whatever you're designing, or you can make one of your own just by choosing here. Now, this is why I was going to talk about color theory, because there's obviously a reason that you're able to do this. Look, this is the different color harmony rules you can apply. So monochromatic, everything's got the same color, it's just varying different shades. See, this is all the same color. The base color is this one, darker and lighter, based on some different hues there. A triad means you've got 3 different complementary or contrasting colors: blues, reds, greens. Complementary means you've got just one axis, it's going straight across the middle, and therefore you get a nice mix of colors with that. Split, oh, there's loads of them. Like, it's worth examining and finding out more about this. All right, because it's quite interesting stuff. So have a. I don't want to sign out. Wait, come back. Right, I'm just going to have a look at one that's out here. I'm going to pinch somebody else's because I'm lazy. Don't be lazy. But this is quite nice. This one I like, and the reason I like this is because it's the greens on this one remind me of coffee. I don't know if I'm way off there, but they're not too strong, not too close to the primary. So of course you've got red, green and blue, which are the primary colors, but the more further you go away with that, the more gentler they are. And I like that because it says coffee to me for some reason. I'm not thinking of Starbucks, I promise you. All right, so let's grab some of these colors and try them out. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this off screen for a minute. What I'm going to do is just draw some boxes. Here we are. I'm just going to have 3 or 4. And I'm just going to use the colors to fill these in. So here we are. That one. And that one. Now I'm just pressing copy on the other thing there on the colors. And the way that I'm doing it, I'm using the hexadecimal references for these colors. So these numbers they're used in web design because these numbers represent different colors, and it's just quite easy to use that reference for a color. It's just very portable. You can just take it where you want to. I am going to get the last one because I do like that brown as well. Here we are. Okay, now let's just have a little play, shall we? Now, the logo, being a logo, might need the darkest color. Look, this is why I like Figma as well, just thoughtful things like that. It's so that I've used these colors and it's put them in the color palette here, so I can just select them. Otherwise, I would have to select this and then do the eyedropper to pick up the color, and then it would put it in this color palette. But it's done for me, so I don't need to worry about that. But now I do want it to go right. Okay, now let's see. What if this one was a dark color? I don't know. It's all a bit basic at the minute. But what do you think of that? Quite nice, isn't it? What I'm just conscious of is this yeah, one, it's basic, so it's quite useful in that you can have lots of applications with this. But it is quite light as well. I don't know if, like, on a white background, you'd want more contrast probably, because what you've got to watch out for is accessibility. Now, obviously, color. This is the other thing about color theory that I was going to go into. Is that everybody has different eyes and different brains, and therefore colors aren't universal. You might think they are. You might think everybody can see 4 greens there, but it's not true. Some people will see a blue. It's very important to get that within safe limits. Now, where's Leah Viru's tool? Hang on. Somebody I follow wrote this very useful program. Here we are, contrast ratio. So it might be good just to check. So the base color is white. What color is this here? It's this one. Again, portable references for colors, great. Now that doesn't pass. So because I've got a red there, it's saying that if I was to use this in text, then it's going to fail this rule, contrast ratio rule, and therefore certain people won't be able to read it. Now, obviously, we don't want to put ourselves in that situation. So I'm going to keep this as an accent color and see if there's another color that I can use that is going to be better. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Let me just check that one. I'm pretty sure it'll pass. We're doing 5. Yeah, we're good. We're all green. Okay, now this is looking pretty good. Right, there's a couple of things I want to do, and which is I want to work on this one a little bit. Now, this dude is really good, but look at the direction he's looking at. Where's he looking? Where's the line of sight? If somebody's looking at him, then they're looking over here. All right, at some point they're going to go off, and they're not going to even look at Chameleon Coffee, and that's not what we want. So the way that eyes are looking, or direction, matters. So this, because also his face is a little arrow. So for example, if I wanted to draw attention to the logo, I could do that, and that would just mean that more people will look at this text, right? Isn't that so? People will follow a pattern of speech. We'll talk about that later with Z indexes and stuff. But for now, I think that let's just rotate this guy. I'm going to just reflect him. So if we were to swap object, flip horizontal. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Okay, now we could get a bit playful with this now. Now that we've got him horizontal, we could do something with the... Ooh, look. What do you reckon? That's a bit playful, and it might not work for the web, because... So if we just were to just have a space there. Yeah, I kind of like it, but I kind of don't as well, because it might not... when we put this logo on the web, it might be too small. Let's just move these out of the way a minute. Don't think we need these guides anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of them. They were just useful at the time. I've got a beer with Sam, apparently. Okay. Right. How's that? I'm tempted to stick with that, you know, because it's fun. And I don't think our friend will mind. What we could do something even more fun, which was, if we bump this down a little bit, we could put it all nice and tight. Nah, it's not going to work. But I might just play with the alignment like that. Okay. Now it's got an interesting shape. I don't know. What do you think? I might we could even have, like, here's a solid fill, but let's have a gradient in here. Like, for the second color, let's choose something a bit more. So no, we want that, but we want a different color. So we want it. This is looking good, isn't it? Actually, let's have another third color at the top here. And let's go for the... No, that's not really going to work. We want something a bit more. Yeah, there we are. Right, now the vector is in the wrong place. Now this, I don't like that line there. I don't think that line should be there. Now, this is all getting a bit fussy, and I'm starting to hate it. I've gone too far. Let's see, it's all down to experimentation, so I don't want that one. I do want that one, but I also want the, let's try to move the, like, so we've obviously got to move it a little bit more because it's not really working. Let's move the endpoint here. His nose looks a bit funny with that one, doesn't it? Haha, I think we've got it. And we don't need that one actually. So we just want that one to continue on down. Right, I think that's it. It's subtle. It's subtle. But I like it. All right, cool. Right, there we are. Has our job finished? No, it hasn't. Now we've got to think about how we're going to deliver this to him. Now, what does he need? He does need this. He needs to obviously see this. And do you know what? I might actually just have a couple of variations. Like I might have the old one before that. I might just give him that as well. So I'm going to copy that one. I'm going to go back to, because obviously it's important for people to feel that they own things. So for this chap, even though he's not a great designer, it's important for him to feel included in the process, because then when you send him the final logo, he'll actually like it because he's worked on it himself. He's had an input. So I might send him like a couple of different things like this and get him to have some comments and then respond to his comments about it. So let's just imagine we've done that. And he said, yes, I want this one. This is one I want to go for because I really like it. It's a shame it doesn't have Comic Sans, but anyway. So now the other thing about this is, look, this is just text. Now there's a problem with that. If you were to import this as a vector and use it in another application, you can do that by doing this. You can do export. I might be able to show you this. Go away. Right, okay. Don't want those two. I just want to export it as an SVG document. Oh, it's got 3 layers, so I need to group this. Object. I'm just going to use a shortcut, which is Command and G, to group this together. So you see it's created a group for them, and that means that I can export it as one thing, not 3 different things. Okay, Chameleon, SVG. So now, if I drop this into my browser, you'll see what happens. It ain't pretty. Oh, that's done it. Okay, but okay, that's why. So if I didn't have Cherry Swash, if I disabled that, disable, and now I reloaded, okay, right. But in some people's, okay, we got to think about how fonts are loaded. Fonts are loaded from your computer. All right, for the most part. So if somebody's computer, like if I send this to our copy shop owner friend, then when he opens it, he might not see these fonts because he doesn't have them on his computer. It's all right if it's on the web because you will have linked to that font on the web, but he needs to use it on his desktop because he needs to put it on his invoices and things. So what we need to make sure is that we have a copy that's got these objects as outlines. So outline, where is it? Outline stroke. There we are. Right. Now, these are vector graphics. Now, one thing that's important about this is always, always, always have a copy that is not vectorized, because in case you say, oh, I need a capital O at the end there, I need this to be a capital, and if you've not kept the non-vector, the text version, then that's going to be a mission. So if you always keep a copy around that's not been vectorized, that hasn't made this into just shapes, then you'll do yourself a favor and save a ton of time for yourself. Right, we've got our logo, people. There we are. All right, now I'm just going to work up a couple of things because I don't want to just give him a logo, right? I want to tell him how to use it. And I want to make sure he can use it in different ways. So, for example, maybe he's got some assets that you can only have black and whites. So I'm just gonna make this into a black fill, solid black. Or you could have a grey if you really fancy doing that, but it's just basically showing him how you might be able to use this on very low res sort of applications. So like if you've got an invoicing program that doesn't let you do fancy stuff, then you need to give him the facility to be able to do that. So there we are. And also I'm just going to give him that so that he can use it. You know when websites have those little logos in the top corner? Don't think mine does at the moment, but sometimes it can come up there. You've got a little logo. So obviously I want him to have that. So I'll just give him that. And also I just want to give him the colors as well. So I might just like give him some brand guidelines here. All right. And tell him to use this carefully. What I also don't want him to do is I don't want him to use it like that. I want him to use it with a bit of space around it, because otherwise things need space, you know. Like if you've got I'm just going to change the order now. Let's send it to the back bit. There we are. See, doesn't that look a lot, hang on, let's get it right. Doesn't that look a lot better than this? Yeah. Why? Oh, actually it runs over. It doesn't give it enough space to breathe. When you've got a bit more room, it lets it relax a little bit and makes it look very chilled out, which of course this is a coffee place. We want people to chill out. You could even do something a bit funny, which is do that. But this isn't a design. This is showing him that you need to have that space. And so some people specify, oh, you've got to leave 30 pixels either side of this logo in order to use it properly. I think we're done. I think we've got a nice design there for our coffee shop. Obviously I need to tidy this up, but we've got it. What have we done in this exercise? Well, haven't we learned that this can be transformed very easily into something that's very beautiful? And we learned a couple of things along the way as well. First is don't use Comic Sans. I hope you've learned that by now. The other thing is don't use images. Why? Do you remember? The first reason is they are pixelated and raster graphics do not scale up very well, right? Whereas vector graphics do. All right, so we learned that. And we also learned that we can get some really cool fonts or typefaces from Google, fonts.google.com. There are other better vendors out there, but there's just loads on Google Fonts, so it's a good place to start. We learned about Adobe Color and how we can use that to find different color palettes or make our own. More about color theory later. And then we did something else as well, didn't we? What else did we do? I've forgotten. Anyway, you can rewind this video and find out. Oh, yeah, we learned about Wikimedia Commons, so Creative Commons, so that we can use certain images if we want to. All right, there's plenty more to tell you, but I shall stop there because this is probably getting very long. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please do play, experiment, see what you can come up with. Maybe ask your parents for an idea of a business that they want, and then make them a logo. See what you can come up with on your own. Now, you've got to keep working at this because you need to develop your sense of style. It comes with time and experience. It's not something that somebody can teach you. All right? Don't worry about thinking, oh, it's bad. Initially, all of your designs will be bad. Let's live with that. Don't worry about it. It's normal. After a while, you'll get to learn a sense of style. As you get to learn about more artists and more graphic designers, and as you scrutinize more things, and that will improve your sense of style. I shall see you in the next one.